Hello friend, welcome back to my channel KBS Technocraft Python tutorial day 5 part 1. If you are interested in learning more about Python basics, I highly recommend checking out some of my previous videos. If you like, please like, subscribe and share. Today we are going to learn file handling. In file handling, we are going to learn basically few points about the file handling. So let's say consider if you want to create a file or open a file or you want to write a file. In this tutorial, we are going to learn major operations which you can perform on a file. For example, open a file for writing, create a file, delete a file, write to a file a single line, write to a file multiple line, close the file, print the content of the file into the console, also append the content into the file. Okay, I will also go through that some of the tutorials where we can create folder and delete folder as well. So let's go to the program and we'll try to go one by one for right. Yes. Okay, so for this, I have done the environment setup already. But if you have not done the environment setup, I would highly recommend you to go through the day one tutorial where I have mentioned how to do the environment setup. Once you do the environment setup, then you can write the code parallelly with me. Okay, so the first program which we are going to write it, we are going to write a program to learn how we can create a file. So let's say consider we want to create a file and file name we want to give the example.txt. So we can create or we can use a open with x. So for example, there are multiple way to create it. We will try to create a file. So let's say here create file and I will pass here to create file we can pass x or w. So I will pass x so for creating file. So I have given the file name. Let's take the example write or create. Let's take a say example create. Okay, so I have given the file name example create file or let's say create file. This is file name and I have passed the second argument as x. Later I will explain what is x here. And then if you have not specified the path, what does it do? It will create a file in same location. So for me, if I run it, it should create a file in same location. So let me run this. Okay. So if you see, it's a created file here with no content. So I will close this file. Okay, this is how you can create a file. Now let's say consider you have created a file and you want to delete this file. To delete this file, what you have to do, you have to import a library here or namespace. You can say it's called OS. So you can import here. I will comment this line for time being and then I will write import OS and then I will make OS dot remove and then I will give the same file name. So when I will run this code, it should delete this create file because I have given the file name as a create file. So if I run it here, okay, I wish to pass the double quotes here. The file name should be. So if you do any mistake here, what will happen? You will be able to get the error here on the console window. So you will be able to find out what exactly the error is. So that's correct. So let me run this code now and it should delete that file. Now you can see from here the file explorer. Now that particular file is not there. Okay. So now let me create a different file and I will comment this code for time being so that we can use it later part for deleting this. and also I will have this namespace commented because it's not required. So we will create a file, and the file name we will give as example because we are doing some examples. So let's give that file name as an example. So we will try to write that code here. Let's say consider file. You can give any variable. Let's say I'm giving f equal to open, then file name example dot txt, and then I will pass x. This is the syntax of creating file. Create a file. Here file name is uh, the first argument is file name, and x is the operation what you are going to perform it. X w r, w is for writing, r for reading. Okay. So if I run this code once again, then you can see that example.txt file is getting created. Again, I missed the double quotes here for x, so it's giving error. I will correct it and I will run it. Okay, so you can see the example.txt file is created. Now we will try to add some content to that particular file. So let's say consider you want to add content to that particular file. In that case, what we are going to do, we are going to write a code for writing content to the file and we will open it. So how we can do that? We will open the file in write mode. The second argument I change it as a w. Okay, and then I will try to write that content here. So for example, I'm just writing hello world here. So I have since I have added the object name as f, I'm just trying to put f. Okay, so when you write into the file, then you should, what we are doing here, we are opening a file, we are writing it, and then we are closing it. So whenever you write a file, is important that you are closing that file as well. So this is how we are going to write that. I will run this code. File.close is not there, so I will put F, and then I will clear it, run it. Okay, since we are not writing anything here, it's executed, and if you open this file, you can see whatever the content we have written, that contents are written into the file. So if you see the program first line, what we have mentioned is hello world. So if you go on the example.txt file, text file, you can see hello world. Second line is this is the example file. Then you can see here this is the example file is there. We can write multiple line. If third, so you can see third is we can write multiple. Now we'll move to the next, and we will try to read file. So how to read a file? Let's say consider you have a file, we will try to read same file and try to write into the console or print into the console. So okay, so I will comment all this line of code one by one. Since the file contains the text information, we can use it for reading that. So I will put it down here and then I will try to write a code for this. So I have written file open, R means in read mode, and then what we have it here is this file.read, and then we are trying to print that content whatever we have read from that particular file we are writing. In this case, what it should write? It should write all these three lines into console output. So I will clear it so that you can see it clearly here, and then I will try to move it a little bit up. I will run it. So if you see the file content, we are getting this. If I remove this, let's say consider I remove only this, and I will just try to run it. So you see in the same format you are able to, since we have placed the backslash n, as it was displaying in the next line, otherwise it will display in the same. So this is how we can read the file. We have open, and then we are providing the file name, and then we are reading that file.read, and then we are trying to print on the console, and then we are closing the file. So this is how you can read the file. Now we'll move to the next. Let's say consider you want to append the files. That means you are going to append some text to the file. Now what we have to do, we have to open the file for append mode. In append mode, what we require to pass a instead of r. So for example, if I create a object for file open and same file example.txt, and I will pass a because we want to append it. So we are appending this text, right? Okay, so I will mention this is appended. So that's fine. I just mentioned the message here, text here to write it, and then if I run it, the same file you can see this. Before we do that, we should close it, that file. Okay, so I will run it. Okay, so if you go to that text file, that you see the last line which we have appended it. So you will be able to see the appended text into the last of this file. Now let's see the next operations, how to print the file of content. So basically on console, for example, you can use it print, as I mentioned, reading the file from the content, and you can print it by using the print uh, function which we use for printing the content into the console. Open the file for writing again. You can open same file for writing again. For example, let's say consider you see what is the difference between append and write. For example, let's say consider here we are using append a for appending. So what is happening, you will be able to see this result is this append is writing one line into the end of the file. That means it's not overriding the content of that file, whatever existing is there. But if we use the write operation again, so for example, I just use write and we are writing this. So you will be able to see the result is it will override that, it will read. Okay, so if I open it, you will be able to see this replace all the content whatever earlier it was. So append and write. Append will append the text into the file as name suggested, and write what it will do, it will replace the previous text if there is something on that particular file. Now we will learn how to create a folder and how to delete a folder. This is not part of file handling, but since I'm uh, discussing this all, we will also check this how to read and write, uh, create and delete a folder. So for example, this is the library which we are importing. In the next session, I'm going to explain how to import a library and also how to handle the exceptions. So for example, if you want to create, let's say first create, you want to create a folder. So you have to import this library, and then you have to write os dot make mkdir, means make directory, and folder name is my folder. So since I am there on root and I have not given the path, so it will create the folder same place. So let me, okay, so you see this folder is getting created. This is the folder which is created. Now we want to delete this folder. So to delete this folder, you have to just os rm means remove directory. So when you run this, you will be able to see this folder is getting deleted. So if you see here, folder is getting deleted from there. Now let's say consider you want to check if this file exists, then only you want to delete it. Otherwise, you don't want to delete it. In that case, let's say consider if you want to check that file exists on that particular location or not. So in that case, what you can do it here, you can use this same library and you can check that. So for example, for us is example. So example dot text. Okay, so we'll put example. Let me copy the same name, example, and people. So what we are doing is we are checking if this particular file exists, then remove. If not, then we will display print that file does not exist. So what we are going to do, we are going to run this program two times. One time we are going to run when it will give you the positive result. That means file will get deleted. Let me print it here that as well. I will mention file deleted. Okay, so I will mention file deleted. Okay, so let's run this. Our file is this. If you can see my mouse pointer, here is file is there. And if I run this code, okay, if you see file deleted message is there, is coming now, and file is get deleted. Now, if I run the second time, what it should display file does not exist because the file is got deleted and file is not there. So let me run it. Okay, you are able to see file does not exist. I hope I covered all file handling of basic operation here. If you like this content, please do press like, subscribe, and share this content. Thank you.